Hi everyone, Jessica here from the Healing Hands Duo. It has been a long time since I have done a video. I actually haven't done even an update on Odyssey or an update on Telegram in a very long time. Actually, the last time I spoke on Telegram, I did tell everybody that I was going to be withdrawing from the internet a little bit because there was a lot of things that I needed to reassess in life. I also had mentioned intuitively that I felt as though I had told everyone that I'd been getting a lot of visions and I had all these, this was probably about 2 or 3 months ago, that the next couple of months would be difficult times for a lot of people. And again, you see a lot of the spiritual groups and stuff like that saying that we're going through this ascension process. There's nothing that can stop it now. What we're seeing now is a dismantling of all of the old world systems, which is entirely accurate. But at the same time, a lot of people think that, I personally think a lot of people think that it isn't going to be even difficult for a lot of the people that have been, per se on the woke side. Like, I hate these terms, but anyway, I'm just going to say that. And that's not what I saw. That's not what I saw in some of my visualizations. Anyway, the reason why I'm jumping on here right now is because I had said to a few people on our Telegram, my husband and I actually did a video about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and I do apologize. I did promise everybody on my Telegram channel that I was going to get that video posted, but when we looked at the playback video, it was very loud in the background. You couldn't really hear anything because it was really windy outside. It was a really cold day. And so what we had noticed, there's several things that I really, really want to bring to everybody's attention right now. I think it's very important because I'm seeing a lot of things. First of all, number one, as you guys all know, I run my own studio where I do alternative health and wellness, where I use light therapy, near infrared, far infrared. I use a frequency or electromedicine, you would call it, ozone, transdermal ozone. I'm actually looking into getting a vibroacoustics bed now because I had said in one of the premonitions I had about a couple of years ago, I had a lot of visualizations about that the future was heading in the way of frequency. This is not something new to my husband and I either. We've been doing electromedicine and dabbling with it ourselves to heal from Lyme disease and other multiple co-infections that we were struggling with over the years since about 2008. And then I started to do it myself back in 2018. We brought a piece of equipment into Ontario because something intuitively told me that there was a few things that my husband and I got involved in. We got involved in particularly water sciences, and we got involved in frequency when it comes to the manipulation of frequencies and what that would do to the body. So we started to look very deeply into scalar technology and then of course electromedicine. So that is actually what my husband and I do. So we offer electromedicine. The other thing that I'd seen was that we were going to be heading into a world where there were going to be malevolent beings on this planet that were going to be manipulating the frequencies using vibroacoustics, which is why I wanted to bring in something like a vibroacoustics bed to actually help bring people's resonance back into balance. Because what I saw particularly for this year, and if you guys have been following me for a very long time, I think this would have been 2021. I was saying that this world was going to be, blown away by the amount of technology that was going to be coming through now. Some of it obviously benevolent, however, a lot of it malevolent technologies. So the video that we had done a couple weeks ago was that I'm not there right now. I'm actually outside of the city right now. What me and my husband had discovered was that last year, at the end of last year, so this would have been in November or December, we started to see that people were getting sick. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you know how I feel about these things and the other things that are going on in the world. I'd always said there was a lot more to it. And a lot of this had to do with the manipulation of our environment, which would eventually lead to people getting sick, whether that be forcefully putting things into people's bodies or changing the resonant frequency in the environment, which then makes certain types of viruses and bacteria, as well as fungus and yeast, proliferate within the body using things like the telecommunications industry, or so they say, the telecommunications industry, using things like 5G, CERN technology. People are sending through stuff now to me, probably because they've heard me talk about the vibroacoustic stuff. And I'm hearing that there are the possibility of using things called, it's a particular type of an energy weapon that is going to cause something that is called It's specifically called Havana syndrome.
So why did the diplomats leave? Because they had started hearing strange noises at their homes and hotel rooms. What sort of noises? The wind at night? A creak in the house? No. The diplomats described these noises as laser-like beams of sound aimed at them from no obvious source. They said it sounded something like this. Disorienting, isn't it? The sound has perplexed doctors for years because most people who heard it for a prolonged time ended up falling ill. The symptoms were diverse and terrifying. It started with dizziness, evolved into headaches, then into insomnia, followed by hearing problems, and ultimately led to memory loss. Whom do we blame for all of this? What exactly is the source of this sound? Insects? Electromagnetic waves, toxic chemicals in the air, mass hysteria, or some unexplained natural phenomenon? There are no easy answers to these questions, only theories and the fear that this could be a new weapon of war.
So you guys would look that up. But the other thing is, there is a recent study, one of my suppliers that we support for EMF stuff. So like they carry like phone cases, belly protectors, they carry like blankets, some EMF shielding clothing and stuff like that. They recently had posted to an article, which I will get into that in this other video that I had done, if I ever have the time to post it to Odyssey. The other reason I haven't been on here, guys, is I've been just really busy, because I said about a month or two ago, after the whole thing went down with Ottawa, my husband and I had gone to support that. And then when that happened and I saw everything jump right into the whole Ukraine-Russia thing, I had gotten a lot of trouble because on Facebook, I had said, you know, people jump from one psychological operation right into the next. And I know that's not what people wanted to hear at the time, but I had been trying to warn a lot of people when the whole thing was going down with the trucking convoy, that this was all manipulation of our perception because we were moving forward with a digital quantum system. The weird thing about this is that I feel a lot of people are falling into this trap. And I'm going to say it's a trap because I know a lot of people are saying the way to go is, you know, the digital quantum system is going to lead us, of course, into, you know, cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, which I don't know. Again, I've talked about this numerous times on my Telegram channel. My husband and I don't particularly believe in cryptocurrencies, and we've done quite a bit of research. It's not even that we don't have crypto. We actually have cryptocurrencies. We started it probably about 8 or 9 years ago now, but we see things a little bit differently when it comes to who is it that is the designer behind the system. Who is the designer behind the quantum system? And not a single person to this day has been able to answer that question. And instead they say it doesn't really matter. It's not owned by anybody, but it's completely false. Like my husband's an electrical engineer. I went to school for computer graphics and web design. And the thing is, the designer always knows how to run, change, or manipulate his own system. So we really should know who's running these digital quantum systems. But anyway, that's not why I'm getting into this today. I'm getting into this today because the video that my husband and I did was probably, this is long before this whole thing in the world started. We protected our home back in 2015 for EMF radiation. We were really heavily into structured water. And of course we started, you know, with our family, we tried to start becoming self-sustainable as soon, probably literally weeks in, we were talking about becoming self-sustainable when we saw this happening with the whole thingy. Because I'm not gonna lie, we technically, even when I saw this in China, when it was starting up, I knew exactly what this was. I knew that this wasn't only gonna last a couple years. I knew that we were never going to go back to normal. I actually did a few videos talking about this very early on in 2020, which is where I kind of got my start on Instagram, when one of my videos was shared with RFK Jr. and talking about how they were going to genetically manipulate people using genetic engineering technology. I talked about how my husband had been called upon by the government 3 times to work on the thingies and to work on the testing for this. And when we refused that position, And of course, we have morals, so we chose not to do that. So things have been difficult for us, of course, but we also have our own businesses on the side. But when we started getting into electromagnetic fields and getting into all that stuff with EMF and structured water, a lot of people didn't want to listen to it when it wasn't really popular, I guess. And a lot of people thought we were crazy when we suggested that in the future, people were going to be struggling because of the radiation that was going to be enforced upon people and because of the chemicals or perhaps toxins that would be put into water. The reason why I'm mentioning this now is because last year, earlier on, I had premonitions about people getting really sick and passing, and it had nothing to do with a biological thing. It had to do something different. And then I started having these really intense visualizations and dreams about 6 months ago about how I started to see the collapse to me, it looked like what I was seeing was genetically modified weather, like what weather modification. Like I was seeing a lot of earthquakes and a lot of flooding. I talked to everybody on my Telegram about this, but I also saw specifically pinpointed New York, which is really weird because somebody just shared a video with me today showing that there was a shooting on the trains on the subway station in New York. And so they were like, I wonder if this is what you saw, and that there was a bomb that went off in the subway station. Again, I think I told my group on Telegram that visualization I had. And if you guys want to listen, you'd have to go back to probably 2 or 3 months ago. I specifically had a visualization of there being just rebel all over New York. So I don't know if it was that in particular, but I did talk about the digital system. I think probably as soon as the convoy started in Canada, the trucking convoy, I was talking about that and how once all this information and all this technology was released on the population, we would start to see a lot of people getting very, very sick. Again, a lot of people are going to attribute that to the fact, and this is part of it, where people have been getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I told people in the beginning when they contacted my husband that Canada had purchased 9 of the in for every Canadian citizen. And then the other is in the States. So some of my information, if you guys don't know, some of my information is coming from inside intel from a gentleman who actually works directly for the CDC. And I know this for a fact because he's shown me pictures. He has now since left, and I've talked about this on my Odyssey channel as well, because like all of us, it's not that we couldn't hold these high-paying positions, but again, there are a lot of us who have been asked to be a part of what is going on in the world on the malevolent side, but we have morals. Like my husband, he had morals. Do we need to be sitting in the position that we're in right now where it isn't, easy to pay our bills from month to month? Or could have even working for the government, making a good hefty 6-figure salary. And yeah, he could have very well been doing that. And but again, we have morals, and I'm not willing to sell my soul to the devil in order to make money and be responsible for potentially the deaths of millions of people. So the gentleman that I know who works inside the CDC, we catch up every once in a while. He's working on a bunch of stuff to kind of expose a lot of what's been going on in there. And it'll be very interesting when he comes out with his work. So I'm really excited about that. So that's what he's working on. On our side, my husband and I have been trying to we're trying to really recollect our thoughts on what we're going to be doing here in the future to help people. We are noticing that I just recently, somebody was just telling me that there is something that's going a little bit viral about how people are getting. So the other thing is like, I've noticed this week alone in particular, is why I'm popping on here right now, is that whether people have gotten this or not, everybody is getting sick right now in Canada. It's been nonstop. My phone has been ringing for the last 5 or 6 days with just people who have gotten it and not gotten it passing away. Suddenly out of the blue finding out they have cancer and dying within a week. People getting really, really strange symptoms that seem to correlate with what C thing was. Other people are getting really, really bad flus, ringing in their ears and all that. And if you guys were following me on Telegram, my husband and I said in November or December, we noticed something very significant happen particularly in Mississauga, guys. I live in Canada in Ontario, but what had happened was I got sick back in November, and it definitely wasn't this. To me, I attributed a lot of it to my autoimmune condition just being flared up by something that was really aggravating it. And I kept thinking perhaps it had something to do with them turning on specific systems. Anyway, that got my husband looking into it a little bit further. My husband's an EMF specialist, by the way. If you guys are interested in having somebody come in and assess your home, the EMFs and the dangers in your home, and give you solutions as to what you can do to really reduce this radiation within your space, especially now, because a lot of people over the years were like, oh, it's obviously that's not what's making people sick and whatnot, because it's been on this entire time. And some people got sick and some people didn't. That's not accurate. While 5G has been going up for the last couple of years, that is true. People don't realize it's not just one thing, it's several different things. I'm going to get into that in the video that I do on Odyssey when I do have a chance to finally upload it. I'm also going to show you this other little portion of the video. My husband went back to this location in Mississauga and he actually took some readings. So what we found is that this entire time, wherever this radiation was coming from, it was very low. So again, people need to realize 5G's multiple things. They can go from, using low bandwidth to really, really high millimeter waves. And that's something, the high millimeter waves, the stuff at the lower bandwidths, the 4G, 3G and all that prior to that was already causing a lot of physiological harm on human biology and on the environment. But these high millimeter wave bandwidths are just something that is unfathomable. We have never ever in all of planetary history been exposed to these types of frequencies. Not to mention, it's gonna wreak havoc. There's gonna be a lot of issues. And my husband thinks that they're doing this intentionally because the idea is to have it affect people so that they can use this frequency to manipulate people into believing that it's potentially something else. Because again, when you play with these millimeter waves or these frequencies, you can also manipulate viruses, parasites, bacteria, and all that. You can also really highly manipulate water. This is going to be super huge. My husband and I have been into water science for a very long time, but my husband in particular, this is his baby. And the weirdest thing that we're noticing is that people have been calling us a lot more about EMFs and water. And what we're noticing is there are really high radiation readings now, guys, that we weren't seeing not even a couple of months ago in Mississauga. So this is again in Ontario. So we were not getting high radiation readings. This is something new in the last several months. And we don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden, out of the blue, after people have gotten multiple things put into their body and been exposed to these frequencies, and now we're finding out that people believe that there's something being manipulated in the water. And my husband and I talk a lot about how water can be manipulated. The crystalline structure of water could be manipulated to create chaotic water, to literally... There's this one study that I watched many, many years ago where all they did was put a frequency to water, and in that water, they created life from just a frequency and the water. So if you can manipulate, again, this is going to get into places where we're talking on quantum levels and things like that, and people will think this is woo-woo, but you can manipulate these things to the sense that if you were to do that and say you wanted to create something benevolent or a strange type of a chemical or an infection in water, all you would have to do is hit it with a frequency. Structured water works by harmonizing the water back into its purest crystalline structure. You'll hear that all the time. Even a lot of the stuff that we're injecting into people right now is creating a chaotic crystalline structure. And guys, I talk about all this stuff in my ebook, which is now been available for over a month. It's why I chose not to talk about COVID anymore, because I figured people could just buy the ebook and it would go through some of this stuff. It will also go through how to protect yourself against this stuff to the best of our knowledge, because at this point, I don't think anybody knows really what needs to be done in order to protect themselves against the C thing. Because what is C thing, right? Is it really a bacterial, a viral, a parasitic infection? Or is this something that we're manipulating the body and the environment to start creating in this physical reality? This gets into dimensional stuff and all these other things, which people will think is woo-woo, but a lot of this stuff has been proven already. I'm not going to get into that in too much detail. The other thing is there is a study that recently, like I said, one of my suppliers came out with and showed that people that do have 5G towers installed very close to the proximity of their home are suffering with what they call microwave syndrome or radiation toxicity. So there is some studies to suggest that that is now happening, and there is a set of symptoms. The set of symptoms for that are very similar to the set of symptoms that people are getting right now. However, like I said, this all works through water, and this works by them manipulating the environment in order to manipulate the water within our bodies. They'll say that our bodies are made up of about 70% of structured water, but technically that's a body that's dehydrated. We're technically supposed to be at around 80% of water. And then of course, majority of the rest of our body is made up of bacteria. And that bacteria needs to be working symbiotically with one another. And as soon as something becomes out of balance, you destroy the microbiome or something along those lines, you create dysbiosis. It's another huge thing that I'm seeing right now. A lot of my clients are calling me. They're all having digestive problems. People are having massive problems with yeast overgrowth, candida, C. difficile, just digestion in general, too much acid. It's just we're seeing and I think at this point we're seeing an attack on all levels. And I said this right in the beginning when this all started. I told people this was World War III like we've never seen before. This is a silent war, spiritual war, and that they were going to be attacking us on various different levels, not like we expected to see in the past. They weren't going to come after us with bombs and guns. And I talked about this. They were going to be going after our water supply, our food supply, the ether through frequency, vibroacoustic sounds, creating artificial, genetically modified organisms. We're going to see a lot of antibiotic bacterial resistance because of all of this stuff. Just various different things, manipulating people through light frequency. That's a huge one. Everything is going to the blue spectrum. We're seeing weird street lights going up that my husband's also detecting radiation off of them. But not only that, but people are sending me pictures of these weird blue violet lights going up. And then of course, you got the thing that they're doing, telling everybody that it is a biological substance, and it's not. It's a genetic engineering substance and stuff like that. So anyway, I just wanted to come on here, have a quick chat. It's not quick, it's 22 minutes, but just to say that I see that stuff. Again, if you guys are looking for solutions as to what to do when it comes to EMF and water solutions. The other thing, sorry guys, we have had a couple of clients that have ordered some of our water solutions. We have our stuff come in from the States. As you guys know, getting stuff in from the States right now into Canada is very, very difficult. And because this stuff is becoming more popular now, it is really hard to get things in a timely fashion and without paying tons of duties and tax. There's nothing we can really do about that. We're still waiting for some of our structured water units to come in for one of our last clients. And the other thing I'm noticing is that the market is really starting to take advantage of this, especially the water systems, because there may be an attack on water in the near future. And I've noticed that several suppliers, which I really hate that they're doing this, have just marked up. Like one of our standard home units used to cost about $3,500 for one person, and then there was another company, it was like could be upward of like $6,000 to $7,000, but everybody's gone up about $2,000 to $3,000 on their systems. And this is something I'm seeing all over the place. The prices of everything are just going up. However, this is a long weekend, and I think some of our suppliers are going to be having some specials. I don't know so much on the water system, but why I'm telling you guys this on water is that there is some stuff going around out there right now about the water supply being contaminated, and that you should look into this right away, because if we do need to order things in for you to prevent, possibly yourself or your family from getting sick from this, if there is any truth to this. Mind you, the water supply, I wouldn't drink tap water. I literally have had structured water for at least 7 or 8 years now too. Our house has been protected from EMF since 2015. We don't use Wi-Fi in our home and all that. We haven't done so in many, many years. Anyway, the whole point of that is that, it does take time to get this stuff in. So you'd have to place your orders immediately. And again, if you're really concerned about it. Oh, so the thing is, my husband will talk about this in his video, but we found out that while 5G is now live, particularly in Mississauga, other cities, not so much. We're not seeing much in the way of other cities. My husband has access to a couple of maps that are able to pull up all the towers that are fully live, but potentially Mississauga here in Ontario, Canada is now been completely okay to be possibly, well, for sure, we're thinking it's the first smart city in all of Canada, but possibly one of the biggest smart cities in all of the world. And this is thanks to our government. And even Pierre is already gone through saying that he would like to make Canada the capital for the blockchain. So yeah, this is, the next several months is going to be very interesting. I've had so many friends, family, clients all around call me. Everybody is really sick, everything from cancers to really major digestive issues to people not feeling stable, people falling all of a sudden out of the blue, hearing things, seeing things, people believing that or thinking that there's contamination in the water, people saying that they're being blasted with frequencies. There's a lot going on, and it's not like I'm jumping on here to only give you bad news. The reason why I am jumping on here is because over the weekend, this might be the time to consider, getting yourself protected that way with scalar technology, getting things blocked inside of your house for the EMF that's coming. Especially if you live in a place like the city, even learning what it is that you could take to help with, to detoxify radiation. Just two that pop into my head right now is liquid zeolites or spray zeolites. I have that in my bio under Touchstone Essentials. Fulvic acid is another that has been shown to reduce some of the radiation. Beta glucan, I don't have anything for that, but I think I might actually, you might check my bio. Beta glucan can help with that. Chaga tea. If you guys, again, this is all in my book, but there are things that you can take regularly to prevent infection. Vitamin C loading, I call it vitamin C loading, and that's where you would take 2 grams of vitamin C. If you're sick, take 2 grams of vitamin C about 15 minutes before your meals. Lipospheric vitamin C, because very different than taking regular like ascorbic acid. However, if you do have ascorbic acid, you can do that and take enough of that until the point of where you're getting diarrhea and kind of back it off. This is you're already sick. If you're not already sick, just taking 1 to 2 grams of vitamin C every day will prevent you from getting, colds and flus and other stuff. Also helps with radiation. The other thing is black cumin seeds. There are some studies to suggest that this will help with particular parasitic infections, biofilms, stuff like that. I have 2 options in my bio for that. Red pine needle oil, I have an option for that in my bio. The other is, there's something called proteolytic enzymes. I think I have those in my bio as well. Proteolytic enzymes are great at digesting fibrin, but also great at digesting like clotting situations, as well as digesting a lot of inflammatory, cytokine stuff like that. But it can actually digest biofilms. And if you guys have been following me for a long time, my theory is that this technology that they're using really attacks people on the biofilm level, but as well as the stuff that they're putting into the body creates like a chaotic structure, which is almost like a synthetic biofilm. So again, proteolytics, I recommend that. And then again, dandelion tea, I think I mentioned that. There, again, all in my book. And the way that you can access my book is if you go to sign up to the Light Revolution. If you sign up to that mailing list, I haven't been sending out mailers. I should be doing them once a month, but I haven't been sending out a lot. But even if you do that, it'll give you a generic protocol for free, just for signing up. And then if you wanted to opt in, I believe the book is at $7.99 right now. You can purchase the book and you'll get sent a full copy of my 70-page. Well, it's like 67 pages long or something like that, but it's all in total with, the cover and the back. It's 70-page ebook, and it goes through everything I think you need to do to stay well during this time. And of course, it includes water, it includes EMF, it includes the supplementation, it includes meditation, and getting your mind around that stuff, the blue light toxicity, what I think this thing is, and how I think you need to protect yourself and prepare. Because, a lot of people keep asking me, like, what would you do for this and what would you do for that? And guys, I am working on it. I just realized that I spend so much time writing up individualized protocols for my clients who are my clients who call me and they set up a consult with me. And I set those up all the time. But I think to make this stuff more available for everyone, what I'm going to do is I'm going to generalize a lot of my protocols. So like I'm going to have like, say for instance, if you had like a C. difficile or a candida problem, or you'd like to do a parasitic cleanse, or if you're looking at SIBO or, gut health, I'm going to start putting together all these protocols since I've been working on some of these things for close to 15 years now. And I think I'm just going to offer them on my website for a small marginal fee on my website so that people can purchase them and kind of read through the protocols. And if they needed more help with that stuff on an individual one-on-one basis, they can just contact us directly and set up a consult, like a phone consultation. So anyway, I just wanted to follow up with you guys on all that. I'm going to post the video that my husband did, the one that he had to redo because we did one together. And I do want to post the part that I did because I'm going through an article that talks and it shows the proof that the radiation from 5G is affecting people health-wise. And so I want to post that, but I just wanted to post the video that he did himself showing you guys the kind of radiation numbers that we're getting in and around Mississauga. So according to building biologist standards, you want these numbers to be at around 10. And I think he says in the video what he was detecting was 49,000. So 10 to 49,000, 4,900 or 49,000. I think he said 49,000 to be honest. But anyway, I will try to post that video either on Instagram, Odyssey, or Facebook because it's on his YouTube channel. My husband has now started an independent YouTube channel just for our energy alignment solutions business because when I went public and became very vocal about this type of technology and what was being done, and especially after my husband they tried to hire my husband several times to work on this stuff with the government. And when we denied them that, along with a lot of other holistic practitioners and people who are just specialized in some of this stuff, like my husband, who's an electrical engineer, we were all kind of like blackballed really on the internet and everybody lost their channels. Like I have talked about this multiple times before. I used to have like 15,000 followers on Instagram and everything was deleted. And I thought, I came back like 4 times and I got deleted over and over again. And then I could just never get that following back. But it wasn't just that really pissed me off. What really got to me was that I had archived probably 20 years of my work in my Linktree account that I had. And it went through like all of our data where you could find actual relevant scientific data to suggest and support all the things that we were saying was accurate. So you could see the actual proof. And I mean, I didn't not only get my Linktree account deleted without any explanation, and I went to the company asking them multiple times, why did I get deleted? Why did you delete my links? Like they basically came back and said that they wouldn't even entertain my emails. They wouldn't tell me why I got deleted or anything along those lines. And it's probably because we were showing people this stuff, the scientific data. So they not only deleted me, but they also took my professional name, my brand name, which is the Healing Hands Duo, and they banned that name across Linktree. So when you actually pull up that name, it's not like my account just disappeared. It literally says that name has been banned so that it basically discredits us as a business. They've also done the same thing on Facebook now. So basically, we're trying to break away from the Healing Hands Duo, possibly the name as a business. And I'm going to be using, I already have that name registered, but we also have Energy Alignment Solutions registered. And I'm thinking about, so the Healing Hands Duo, Energy Alignment Solutions is the EMF stuff in particular. And the other one is, oh my gosh, what's the other one? Oh my gosh, there was another one. There was another one that we were thinking about getting registered. And it's honestly, I'm like losing my mind today because like I've just been kind of trying to help people on a one-on-one basis for the last week. And it's just got me in a place. And anyway, we had, there's just been some things that have happened in my family and stuff like that too. And yeah, a lot of stuff going on right now, a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, just wanted to come on here, just wanted to say hi to everyone, and I hope you're all staying well. Again, some of those key things, I've mentioned them all here. You'll find all of that stuff in my bio if you know you are after scalar technology, protecting yourself that way, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be they're holding some specials right now for the long weekend coming up here in Ontario or in Canada. Some I think are holding like 25% discounts and stuff like that, but just take a look. We have it separated now under, I have a new linked account where I don't include any of the scientific data anymore, but I do include all of my affiliations. So you can go through section by section, like all the supplements I recommend, EMF products that we recommend, blue light toxicity products, in-home care, lighting devices, practitioners that I have consulted with in the past, various different things. I've tried to separate those out. But what I am going to do is to make it a lot easier for everyone, I am planning to take all of that off of there and create a landing page on my website that is searchable so that people can find things a lot more easily. I just haven't had the chance to do that, but I will. Anyway, guys, I hope this video works. None of my videos have been working lately. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.